Hello everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today we are diving into part 3 of our exploration into the City Championships decks. And this one, I would highlight a main card, but there really isn't. It's just it's a Night March deck piloted by Roberto Lozada. I apologize if I said that name wrong, but I mean, really Night March is a strategy that has been very popular in regionals, worlds, nationals, all of that since it came out. I mean, it's a very powerful strategy. It's relatively consistent. It might be arguably the most consistent deck, but I mean, there are plenty of other decks that have that can give it a run for its money. But we have one that has clearly been effective even now, after a while after it was initially released, and it has won a City Championships. And let's just go ahead and jump right into the deck. Obviously this is Night March, but we will get to those Pokemon in a second. The first Pokemon we are looking at is a Bunnelby with the, I think it's like a Omega Barrage, I think that's what it is. Omega Barrage trait. You can attack twice in one turn, and it has 2 attacks, the Burrow and the Rototiller. Burrow is great for milling your opponent and disrupting them a little bit, and Rototiller is just kind of an anti-stall tactic. Like if you run up against a Wailord type deck, well, you can just start Rototillering stuff back into your deck to where they cannot stall you out. So that is what Bunnelby is used for, and also it's just kind of a poke that you can throw out there when you want to give up like a prize if you don't have anything going and you just need a stall, but you also want to have something done so it's not a complete waste of a turn. Burrowing is always nice with Bunnelby. We're running 3 Shaman for the setup. I mean, that is entirely it. You just want to draw more cards and get rid of them. And then we are running a 4/4 line of Night March. I don't think you ever want to run anything less than that. And the 2 attackers are Joltik for DCE, can use Night March, and Pumpkaboo for a DCE and an extra energy. You can use Night March, but I mean, Pumpkaboo is helped out by Dimension Valley, so that is great there. Lampin is there just to be immediately discarded. Like, you're not running anything that gets Lampin out, so you just want to immediately put it into the discard pile. And that is really the whole strategy of this deck, just hit fast and hit hard with Night March. As for another tech card, we are running a Jirachi for 1 energy. Doesn't matter what type it is. You can use Stardust, does 10 damage, but that's not really the effect. The effect is if you discard a special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon, and if you do, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So this Jirachi we are once again seeing used as, I would guess, an anti-Seismitoad measure, or just kind of a stall tactic if your opponent runs a bunch of special energy and you need to get another Night March poke powered up in the back. We are also running a 1/1 line of Feebas and Milotic. Milotic just for the Sparkling Ripples ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put a card from your discard pile into your hand, which is great for recycling those DCEs that you have and that are oh so precious. I mean, that's basically the motor of this deck. If you don't have DCEs, you don't have attacks, and you're just gonna get destroyed. Really, you want to save Milotic for late game. I mean, Feebas, you kind of need to be careful about playing it because it does just have 30 HP, so it's easily sniped down by like Crobats and stuff like that. So you need to be careful with playing it, but you also want to have it available. That way, when you need to grab something from your discard pile, you can just go ahead and play Milotic right on there to grab whatever you want. As for the items, we are running 4 Battle Compressor. You don't want to run anything less. I mean, you could potentially get away with 3, but Night March is so heavily reliant on discarding cards from your deck that you want to run as many Battle Compressor as possible. We are running 1 Revive just to, like, I don't know, get a Joltik or a Pumpkaboo out if you need another attacker. Like, if you overextend yourself and you're like, oh wait, I'm out of attackers, you can use Revive to get one of them back. 1 Super Rod for very much the same type of situation. 1 Town Map, because all of the cards are so crucial in this deck. You want to be able to pick the right ones off your prizes, and especially because once you start taking prizes, you need to be attacking every single turn. You can't afford to have a dead turn, so Town Map is there to be sure that you take the right prizes when you do get to take them. 4 Trainer's Mail, just to mill through your deck, get some more cards out, all of that stuff. 4 Ultra Ball to get everything out. You could run Level Ball, but again, this deck is so heavily reliant on discarding cards that Ultra Ball is just all around better. For VS Seeker, I mean, reuse our supporters. I mean, VS Seeker is amazing for that. 1 Giovanni Scheme in case you need a little bit extra damage. 1 Hex Maniac to shut down Pyroar, because, I mean, you don't have anything that can hit Pyroar, and I mean, if you face a Pyroar, then you basically just auto-lose if you don't have Hex Maniac, so that is why that is there. 1 Judge, just in case you already have a setup and you want to make your opponent stall a little bit. You can use the Judge to disrupt them. 2 Lysander. Night March is heavily reliant on taking out 3 EXs. I mean, that is usually what you want to do. You can usually afford to take out 2 EXs and 2 regulars, but you want to Lysander out the pokes that will give you trouble, so that is why Lysander is in there. 4 Sycamore. Again, discarding cards and getting a fresh hand to 7. That is exactly what this deck wants to see, so that is why you're running Sycamore. 1 Teammates. I mean, let's be real, your Pokemon are going to get knocked out a lot. You are rarely ever going to 6-0 your opponent with Night March. So Teammates is actually used rather frequently to get like a Dimension Valley and a DCE out for your deck or something like that. Because your Pokemon will get knocked out, and when they get knocked out, you basically get a 2-card computer search where you don't have to discard anything. So that is why Teammates is in here. It is a great card, particularly in Night March. We're running 3 Dimension Valleys. I mean, we could run 4, but you really only need them for Pumpkaboo's attacking, and really, if you have to use more than 3 attacks with Pumpkaboo, then you're kind of in trouble. So that's why we're only running 3 Dimension Valley. I mean, it's a high number, but not the absolute max. As for the items, I know that this deck could benefit from Fighting Fury Belt and potentially other cards from Breakpoint, but very much like the previous 2 installments of this little mini-series, I have decided to stay true to the original creator's deck list and just stick with what they originally handed, not try to put my own spin on it. So that is why there are no Breakpoint cards. Fighting Fury Belt, if you want to use this deck, put that in there. Fighting Fury Belt is amazing. It makes Joltik, it turns Joltik into 70 HP to where it takes a giant Water Shuriken and a Water Shuriken to knock it out. I mean, normally Joltik is able to just be sniped from the bench by like Crobat and just regular Water Shuriken from Greninja. But if you slap a Fighting Fury Belt on there, it not only takes a giant Water Shuriken, but an additional Water Shuriken to take it out, which is just great. And I mean, it really, really helps this deck. And Pumpkaboo even turns into 100 HP. I mean, it's almost as bulky as Shaman with the Fighting Fury Belt, and that 10 extra damage is always appreciated. Especially with some of the 170 HP EXs. So if you're using this deck, I recommend using Fighting Fury Belt over like a Muscle Band or a Float Stone or something like that. Actually, not a Float Stone. Use 2 Fighting Fury Belt over the Muscle Band, just because you can normally get that extra Night Marcher into the discard pile, but that extra HP is definitely worth the 10 damage drop. But anyway, the items you're running in this deck are 1 Float Stone, just to kind of throw on a Shaman or a Bunnelby or whatever is stuck active that you don't want to be active, and you can just switch it out for free. 2 Muscle Band to get some extra damage. 4 DCE, I mean, these are the single most precious resource in the entire deck. You almost never want to have to discard DCEs. In fact, you would rather just sit on them for a turn rather than discard them. Well, sometimes, not always. There are cases where discarding them is better, but you might see that in the battle. And then we're running 2 regular Psychic Energy in case you face like an Aegislash or something like that, to where they shut down the DCs. Oh, and Aegislash is also where Hex Maniac comes in handy too. But 2 regular Psychic Energy just for Night March if you all of a sudden can't use DCEs or something like that. And also they help with Jirachi and Bunnelby to where you don't have to commit a DCE to them. But anyway, I have rambled on long enough about the deck. Let's just go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Chattels with a Psychic Water deck. I'm curious to see what type of deck this is. Hoping it's not Bats, because Bats Greninja would just kind of be the end of us. I mean, that'd be absolutely horrible to face, and because we are using Night March, we do not want to go first, so let's see what we are able to start off with, and we're actually able to start off with something pretty good. I actually like this hand a lot. We are able to discard a Lampent and a Pumpkaboo. Let's just go ahead and get another Pumpkaboo down, just because we have a DCE and a Sycamore, so this is a great starting hand, and it looks like it's a Ghastly deck? Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure what my opponent is running, but it obviously runs around Gengar. It might be a Gengar I'm not even sure. I think, actually, we win. I'm pretty sure we win. I don't think there's any way that we can't. Unless we can't get one more Night March in the discard pile. But you know what? I can actually guarantee that by Ultra Balling for a Joltik and then just Professor Sycamoring it away. And that will actually, that will just be the first game. I mean, that's how quick Night March can go. Just going to Night March, do 60 damage, and that is it. I mean, I could have played it out a little more, but I didn't think there was any point in prolonging the inevitable. I mean, that's Night March for you. If you don't get something big out that can take a turn, then you're just basically lose. So yeah, that is the first match, and we will just go ahead and try to find another. Alrighty, we have found one against Jax with a looks like they're either using a Ho-Oh deck or a Manectric Bats deck. Either way, this is kind of bad for us. We do win the coin flip. That means we will get to go second. That is what you normally want to do with a Night March. You know what? Do we want to go first or second? I kind of want to... You normally want to go second with this type of deck, but I think I will go first in this matchup just so we can have a chance to set up before my opponent starts getting, sniping us too much. So we do get a pretty solid starting hand. I will even be able to not have to rely necessarily on Dimension Valley, just because I'll be able to get a regular energy out immediately onto the Pumpkaboo to get a DCE later. And it looks like my opponent is running a Mega Manectric, most likely a Mega Manectric Ho-Oh deck, or maybe just a Mega Manectric Bats deck. I'm not completely sure. Most likely this archetype would be with Ho-Oh, so yes, we would like to draw a card. It's even a Lysander. No, we don't want to start with Shaman. We even get another Shaman, so there's that, I guess. Let's go ahead and get a Battle Compressor. That is great to see. Get rid of a bunch of Lampent, hopefully. Hopefully we don't have many prized. I mean, had a couple Lampent prized a couple times while using this deck. There was one time I had 3 prized, and that was just completely devastating. Let's see, is there one more in the deck? Yes, there is. Means we can get rid of it later. Discard all of those. Yes, please. He will be able to hit me with an Overrun, which isn't the biggest deal in the world. I'm going to go ahead and play the Dimension Valley. I know he's able to get, he'll be able to discard that later, but I wanted to be able to draw the maximum possible cards with Shaman, plus I would be discarding it anyway with the Professor Sycamore. So let's just go ahead and Battle Compressor again, get rid of some more stuff. I think, what will be the best in this matchup? I think I'm going to get rid of one Pumpkaboo. Let's get rid of one of our Battle Compressors, and then let's get rid of the other Lampent. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Lysander and the Joltik. I don't want to overextend myself, but also I want to make sure that I have Pokemon that I can attack with. So we have 3 Night Marchers left. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Feebas to put that on the bench. I know it is an overrun target, but at this point I just want to get more cards, and we even do get some more Night Marchers that we can work with. So this is great. I think I'm just going to end my turn right there. I will play probably, how many more do I need to knock out the... Okay, so I have 6, so I have 120 damage. I need to get 3 more to knock out the Manectric, or I just need 2 more and a Muscle Band to knock it out. So 6 plus 2 is 8. That's 160, and then a Muscle Band would knock out the Manectric, so that is probably what I'm going to go for. My opponent does even get 2 more targets for me with the Hoopa, which gets hit for super effective damage by Pumpkaboo, and the Shaman, which gets hit for super effective damage by Joltik. That being said, I'm probably going to play the Pumpkaboo down this turn, and then Sycamore. Hopefully I'll draw a DCE. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I think... Actually, so I need 2 more in the discard pile and a Muscle Band. I think I'm going to go ahead and Sycamore this turn. That way I can make sure I get 2 of them in there. I mean, I know I'll be getting rid of another Pumpkaboo, but I do still... Do I have a Super Rod somewhere? Yes, I still do have the Super Rod in my deck or in my prizes. Yeah, it's in my prizes, so If I really need it, I can go grab it, but if not, it's not the end of the world. We do see him get rid of the Dimension Valley, but that's not a huge deal because I already have the energy on the Pumpkaboo, and my opponent will probably just end his turn right here. If I can get a Muscle Band and a DCE, I will be able to knock out this Manectric in one shot. Unfortunately, he will have a Mega Manectric at some point, which will be able to... Yep, we do see the Manectric Spirit Link. I will probably just try to Jirachi that guy. I mean, actually, Jirachi will not do anything to it, so I'll have to Lysander things out. That being said, I want to get as much of my hand played out so that I would be able to Lysander effectively and use that as my supporter for the turn, as opposed to other things, like if I need a draw support or something like that. So I'm trying to put myself in a position to where I can Lysander effectively, and yeah, that is the game plan. Looks like my opponent's just using a straight Mega Manectric deck, so let's just go ahead and play the Sycamore, get a couple more Night Marchers in there. If we can get a Muscle Band, that works too. Let's just go ahead and Trainer's Mail, get an Ultra Ball. I can Battle Compressor to get rid of... I'm going to Battle Compressor to get rid of... I need to get rid of one more Night Marcher, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 100, 120, 140, 160. Yes, I do need to get rid of one more in order to be able to KO this Manectric. So I need to get rid of... I need to get rid of this last Pumpkaboo, and I'm probably going to take the Super Rod off of the prizes, just because that's going to be what I have to go for this turn. So let's get rid of that, and then just go for a Night March. It will be able to knock out this Manectric, and I think I'm in a position where I can win. I'm going to go ahead and grab the... Let's grab the Super Rod, I think. Let's grab the Super Rod and the Trainer's Mail, because I have the Lysanders in my hand. My opponent will most likely get a Mega Manectric next turn, which can give us problems, but I think we are able to... I'll be able to Ultra Ball for my Milotic, to where I will be able to get back a DCE or something from the discard pile, and I can always just Super Rod back in some of the pokes that I need. So I think we're in a very good position, especially because I have a Lysander, I have Pokemon to attack in my discard pile. I mean, I have all of that set up. And okay, we do see the Professor Birch's observations. He gets Tails. Luckily for us, if he can't get another energy, then that's okay. So he does get it. He will be able to knock out Pumpkaboo. So that being said, I'm immediately going to probably yeah, so he does knock out this guy. He will be able to power up probably just the Manectric to be able to knock out Joltik next turn. We do see that. That is a bit unfortunate, but my opponent can only take a couple prizes at a time because he will need to do that, I guess. So let's go ahead and put the DCE on the Joltik. Let's play down the Trainer's Mail, get another Ultra Ball. What I can do right now is go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Judge, and I think the Dimension Valley. I think that's what I want to get rid of. Grab the Milotic, go ahead and play the Super Rod to get back, I think, a Pumpkaboo and a Joltik. I want a Joltik, another Joltik, and I think I'm just going to get back one energy because I have a Lysander that is able to get those guys out. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's Lysander in a Shaman to be able to take 2 more prizes. And there we go. All right, Night March to Shaman. We have a way of Lysandering next turn. Let's go ahead and grab this Joltik and this Muscle Band. So I think it was a little bit of an oversight on my part. I forgot that I wanted to play down another Joltik, but I think I'm okay enough to where I can afford to stall a turn if my opponent actually has... So did he get rid of my Floatstone? No, he didn't, so that's still in the deck somewhere. Oh, my opponent just judges. We do see the Floatstone. Oh my goodness, this is I mean, that's game right there. I mean, that's just straight up game, because I can play the Joltik down, play the Float Stone onto the Shaman or something like that. I mean, that was the single perfect 4 cards that I could have asked for. So I mean, that's game right there. What I can do is go ahead and play Float Stone onto Shaman, play the my Lotic down to grab a DCE. Where is that? There it is. That's beautiful. Let's go ahead and play that onto the Joltik, retreat with the Shaman, and even go for the VS Seeker for the Lysander to win the game by knocking out this final Shaman with our Joltik. And whew, that was probably the best judge I have ever gotten in my life. I mean, if I had to list the 4 cards that I needed to win that battle, I mean, that was the 4 cards. I needed the Float Stone to retreat one of my Pokemon. I needed the Joltik to be able to switch into. I needed the Milotic for a DCE. I mean, that was beautiful. That was perfect. I mean, this deck, actually, it was very much in my favor to get something that I could work with to that point, just because Night March uses Battle Compressor and other cards to really mill down stuff that you don't need. So this is a very, very fun deck. It's a very consistent deck. I love using it. I mean, I try not to spam Night March too much, because you really don't like running into Night March when you're playing versus ladder. I mean, you're not always using the most competitive decks, so Night March just gives you problems, and you don't like dealing with it, but this is still a phenomenal deck. I love using it, and I hope you guys love using it too. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the exact deck lists and all the other deck lists from City Championships, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.